Instead, there are plenty things to like. Don't feel angry about yourself when you feel down. There is light in your heart, just keep it bent. Cause we were born to laugh. Oh, we were born to laugh. Oh, we were born to laugh. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Oh, love, 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 love. Oh, love, 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 love. In the morning, greet your neighbor with a smile. I make the world go round and round and feel alright. I sing these songs of liberation, light up the world. There's a fire in your heart, just keep it bent. Cause we were born to love. We were born to love. Yeah, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Oh, love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Oh, love, 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 love. Love, love. Cause we were born to love. Yes, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Oh, love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. Oh, we were born to love. We were born to love. Oh, love, love, love. Oh, love, love.
And Zach, we're handing over to you to start the program for us.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Yoli. Thanks so much. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for making the time to be here this evening. Welcome from us. I'm really excited about this collaboration for Youth Month between DIT and HYBA. And we're just so honored and privileged to have the GetRaise team here today with us. So thank you so much for everyone who has made this evening happen. And we're super excited to just share knowledge. So DIT is a pretty new community. It's probably about a year and a half old now, and it comprises of founders working on scalable tech. It has investors within the ecosystem, also ecosystem builders, and we're all there with the singular mission of connecting, sharing knowledge, sharing insights and opportunities so that we can build up one another. Because the South African tech space has got a color, unfortunately, and it's white. And that's why it's so necessary for us, to be a community where we can share things, because those networks are often extremely hard for people to tap into. So really, that's the heart behind just this whole initiative. And we're just really, really excited for this evening, and hoping that we can learn a lot from our guests. So thank you so much. With that said, Yoli, I'd like to hand it back over to you, and I'm really looking forward to this evening's session.
Thank you so much. So it's Vu who's going to be doing our opening remarks. Hendrik, if you can put on the slide, please.
Oh, thanks everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We've got quite a diverse and wide-ranging group today. Our guests are joining us all the way. Some are in Nairobi, in Kenya. Some are in Lagos, in Nigeria. So with a jumbo, and we greet you all in warm hands. We also have guests as far afield as Malabo in Equatorial Guinea. So it's such a beautiful thing to have. And as our many other guests that are joining from across the DIT community here in South Africa come in, really warm greetings. As we host this session, a rather unfortunate and deeply sad situation has happened in our ecosystem out in South Africa. One of what I consider to be one of the very important pioneers and stakeholders of people doing different things in our ecosystem, Mr. Tefo Mohape, sadly left us yesterday morning. He had unfortunately been affected by COVID and long-term COVID, and he had lost his battle to pneumonia. I'm personally really heartbroken. Tefo was a wonderful friend and a wonderful, confidant, thinker, very active person. And again, with that said, before I kind of open the session, want to take just a moment just to acknowledge Tefo's time and his passage as he moves on. If you don't mind taking a moment. So Tefo, we acknowledge you, brother. We send our praise for you and your family. You truly made a tremendous contribution to so many amazing things. And again, I want to encourage anybody who hasn't been exposed to Tefo's work, please take an opportunity to check out iAfrican, listen to his podcasts. For the founders, there's some magical words and of wisdom and pearls of wisdom in his platform. Tefo was a great storyteller of the African story and the African narrative. He told it with authenticity. He was a great, amazing guardian of the platform that we've built. And for that, personally, on behalf of everybody here, I'll honor him and really cherish and value him for the amazing contributions he's made. So, well, again, we'll be enjoying these things. I spent time with Tefo in Zimbabwe, spent time with Tefo in Kenya, spent time with Tefo in Morocco. So it's always kind of been an amazing journey, and it just reminds us how short life can be. With that said, I want to welcome everybody. Since being part of the DIT community, I've been on a mission. Thanks to Zako and Kopano for their leadership. I promised them both that we don't need you don't need title to be a leader in this space. I'm a big brother to these brothers, and but there's no hierarchy. These are my leaders, and I believe in their vision. I believe in their leadership, and I trust the value that they're going to bring. And I know that this community is going to be something special. It's going to build something unique and special, because it's going to be built on authentic people building amazing things. With that said, I also want to thank our other brother, Divine, who's the Idols winner in Zimbabwe. So that sweet music that you were listening to earlier is an artist that we support here at Hyper. We love supporting the arts. And Divine is one of our wonderful beneficiaries in our work through Hyper Cares. And we love supporting his work. So again, we encourage you. His music is available on Spotify. So if you don't know if you're Shazamming there, the song, or, but he's also looking to do his music from Zimbabwe and bring his music across the world. I see him as a as the new Oliver Mtukudzi of Zimbabwe. I think his music's gonna go far and wide, and I feel incredibly honored and pleasure to have met him at such an early stage of his life. And there was no doubt that his music is going to go on to influence and impact many lives. So very proud of that brother in Zimbabwe. And then to the people, our special guests, I see a very beautiful lady there who's also been my wonderful friend. Hi, Tina. And who's done something special and unique. I'm so happy that we finally get to do this. It's going out and it will be there for the record and we'll keep playing it. And the thing that, you know, the vision, I remember actually, I think one of my last trips to Nairobi, she was exiting. She was on the way out, looking to go and do things. She wouldn't say what it was she was going to go do, but has gone on to build something unique and special and incredibly proud. And I've gotten to meet her team. There's my king there, Kingsley in Lagos. Chief, you must put a light on you. I know you're so dark, you can't even see you, this guy. But good to have you here, my brother. And Ozzy, also in Nigeria, welcome, my sister, as well. So looking forward to you sharing. You're amongst friends, you're amongst brothers and sisters. We believe in your vision. We honor the work that you guys are trying to do to bring about the change that you are trying to bring about in the continent. We are your allies here. These guys, Nsako, Kopano, Yoli in South Africa, I know you are wanting to come into this space. We'll make it easy for you to come into this space. Madiba is there in Equatorial Guinea. I'm sure he's going to take away lots of things here today to share. So we welcome you and we thank you for taking the time and honoring us with your knowledge and honoring us with sharing a bit of your story. And I look forward to also learning more about the journey and learning more about what the product can do. Because again, from the product brochure that I've read, I know we are going places, people, with Raise. I'm pretty sure this will not only confirm and affirm that, it will take us to the next level of it. So I think one of the team members from DIT is going to lead. Kopan, are you leading? I heard
Yes.
it was supposed to type. Okay. I got a different message from Yoli, and it was, I think, Tandek I was supposed to lead. But if it's you, my brother, I hand over to you. Thanks to everybody on behalf of Hyper. We do this because we love African founders. We want to help build the African story. Trust me, guys, you don't even have a sausage of belief how much we want to build it. You know, part of the reason why my Diva is here is because I traveled to his beautiful country recently and really had, trust me, they are founders in Equatorial Guinea, building amazing things. The first dating app in Equatorial Guinea is it's already live. It's got 1,000 people. You know, if you want to build tech in a country, give them a dating app and see what happens. But Madiba himself is an animator and a creator. So again, if you're looking for animation creation, they're building a studio over in Equatorial Guinea. So again, if you're looking for somebody to do some animation, some creative, some explainer videos, the brother is your man. So please, this is all for all of us. Dakis in Tech are not just South Africa, they're all over the continent, and I'm sure everybody will appreciate it. Enjoy the session, and thank you on behalf of Hyper for being here, and really looking forward to the story. Back to you, Kupan.
Awesome. Thanks, Vu. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Also, a quick shout out to our community and some of the African startups that are showing, holding the fort in Paris. The ecosystem this week is quite hot. There are a few events happening in Cape Town. There's one in Paris. So shout out to all our community members that are showing up in the different spaces. Today's session is very exciting. We're happy to have the Raise team here with us. And we've structured the program to be a bit exciting, a bit different. We'll kick off with looking at a Raise through the lens of one of the co-founders, which is Tina. We'll understand a bit about her journey and how she's gotten to where she is currently, any challenges that she has faced, and any words of wisdom that we could take from her journey. Then we'll jump right into understanding a bit about the platform Raise, how it can help founders in our community, founders who are tuned in all over Africa, actually. And then we'll go into some Q&A from the audience and hopefully get some insights that we can take back into our own journeys, our own companies, and hopefully have a long-term partnership with the Raise team. So just to kick us off, I'll have a short snippet of what Raise does, and then I'll go into Tina's bio. Yoli and Tina will continue the conversation around Tina's entrepreneurial journey. But let me kick it off with the snippet of what Raise is. So Raise is a cap table platform for Africa's growing startups. So Raise is the best place for growing African startups to manage equity, seed rounds, and legal compliance. Through Raise, you as a founder can close deals 2 times faster for 1/3 of the cost with an all-in-one platform. And today, as I said, we have Tina, who's one of the co-founders of Raise. She is the Chief Growth Officer at Raise, and I'll give you a snapshot of Tina's journey, but really keen to hear her tell her story. But Tina has over 9 years of experience in supporting African startup ecosystems. Before this, she led Africa's Office for Village Capital, which was a $33 million fund. She managed the due diligence process for Generation Africa, an initiative by Econet Global and Yara International. She's performed due diligence for more than 3,000 companies on the continent. Prior to this, she worked at Send Savvy Investments, trading securities on Nairobi Stock Exchange. Tina also worked for development projects, Nairobi County Government and NORIC, managing economic development projects, and she's passionate about agriculture and advocates for a green economy. So that is a mouthful, but I'm pretty sure Tina has more exciting things to say about her journey. So without further ado, I introduce Tina to you.
Thank you so much, Kopano. Tina, welcome. So hi, everyone. Yoli Jabavundlovu, and I'm the comms lead at Hyber. And we're really so excited to have this session. And more importantly, we're excited to have Tina join this conversation. So as we're planning, we said we want some female voices. So, so Tina is helping us not only to have young people, but also to have a youth voice. A women voice, because we know that the industry is struggling, right, with some females, and so we're really excited. We're really thrilled to have you, and we just want to get to know you. We want to, to understand, your journey and, the things that people don't get to know. So maybe to just start us off, maybe if you can just tell us about your childhood and your early career experiences that might have shaped you to where you are today.
Childhood, that's a while back. Hi, everyone. So I'll just buckle it. So I've been in boarding school for over 10 years. And I've studied with girls almost all my life. So you can imagine the drama that comes with that. But with my childhood, I've always been different. And I used to think was a bad thing. For a long time, I didn't fit in. But when I joined high school, I figured what was the common thing everyone liked: candy. So I started smuggling candy into school. It was my first social enterprise. I want to say it's social because it helps. So I had a business where I worked with the cook and the school bus driver. So I would give them a cut of every profits I would make. So I would always sell things like between 2x to 5x, depending on if you're a freshman, you pay more money. Also, depending on if it's when we open school or when we're closing, the inflation would be higher. So if I know people have money, I would make sure the biscuits and the sweets are. So that was my first venture. Luckily, I was never caught, so that was great. I hope that my headmistress never sees this this video. Yeah, so that was my first venture. I realized that the thing that I like, I can identify the most is finding out common grounds, like what people want. And then if I serve that or I give that as a value, then I make friends. That's how I made friends. And that's how I was able to not be we used to call it monolization. So it's like you get picked on. So I never used to get picked on because I was that person with the candy. That was my first venture. And I guess that's where I knew my entrepreneurial side of things, passion kicked in. Yeah, so finding out the problem and finding a solution for that.
Yeah. Well, Tina, I must say that we also had a Tina who used to sell Bawan chocolates and Kit Kats. So I remember Tina's back in high school. You've actually answered the next question that I wanted to ask. But what I perhaps am interested in, something that I know at times as a Black child is a challenge, is that something that I can perhaps also relate to is that I was exposed to entrepreneurship at a young age through my grandfather. He had a spaza shop, but my mother had different ideas, right, in terms of how life that, high school, university, and go and get a job. And so how was that journey for you? Yes, you're in high school. Yes, you can see that you have an interest, in going to entrepreneurship. But how was it in terms of family? Were there any kind of dynamics? You're a woman that might have said, look, you're actually just supposed to go to university and go and get a job. How did you maneuver, going into entrepreneurship? Because I know that as a Black child is a real problem. Is a real challenge.
I never thought about being an entrepreneur. I just saw it, as a means to an end. For me, entrepreneurship, I viewed it as survival. That was my view. But then looking at my parents, my mom was a farmer. She was a commercial farmer. Later in life, when I think after high school, when I had breaks, I would always just work with her in the farm, and I would get my cuts. Be like the harvest for 1 acre would be my payment. So that's, for me, that's how I viewed entrepreneurship. It was a means to an end. If I needed something, I would do it. My parents have always been very supportive. They're like, if you can make your own money, good. So it's like less work for them. So they would always tell you, just go do your work. Yeah, so I didn't find it as a challenge. I actually thought that it was very empowering. But if I was to look at my tribe, if I were to talk about African tribe, is that women, in my tribe, women are not supposed to be very independent. We're supposed to be dependent on the man. Like, you cannot, even if you're making money, you should be quiet about how much money you make. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how it is until today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's perhaps one of the bigger discussions that even as HYBA we're looking to discuss during Women's Month. So in August in South Africa, it's Women's Month, and so we are looking to deep dive into some of those challenges that face women as they progress, as they enter into boardrooms, as they run their own businesses. What are some of the challenges that they face? So we look forward to inviting you and seeing you there to in those discussions. And while we're talking around challenges as well. When you look at, Raise is not your first venture. As you've said, you started all the way in high school, and there's perhaps other ventures you've had that you've tried and have not worked out, or they've worked out and you moved on to, other opportunities. What would you say are some of the challenges that you've encountered that have helped you you know, in navigating or being a better leader, or not just seeing yourself, perhaps even that you're a female leader, but where you get to a point where you're like, I'm just a leader. It doesn't matter that I'm a woman, I'm a leader. It doesn't matter that I'm Black. But some of the challenges that you faced before, and now you are using it as you are leading this organization, GetRaise in particular.
Yeah, so I think back in 2016, I was in between jobs, and again, every time I'm in between jobs, I would just go back to farming. And I was doing a deep dive on the value chain of farming. So I did a research around value chain of farming, and I realized that 40% of food is being wasted from farm to fork in Kenya. So I was like, aha, I'll be the solution. So I tried to like rent out a pickup and move food from my rural area to Nairobi. It was okay, but then like the costs of the value chain goes higher, and each middleman has to be paid off at some point. So I didn't think, but back then I wasn't thinking technology can support or can support or ease that process of the value chain. And you can also have like revenue share, where like an Uber for or Hello Tractor, or an Uber for you know, like bringing things, food from the village to Nairobi. So I did that for like, I think 6 months, and it wasn't working for me because I didn't have the resources. I didn't in entrepreneurship. I had a background in business, finance and marketing. However, you need a lot more, right? So I think the first thing was acknowledging that it was hard to acknowledge that you have to do a business as a founder, and it's a humbling experience where like I had a business partner, but then we didn't have money. We were trying to fundraise, but then.
Sorry, I think we've just lost Tina. I think her network is, yeah. So if we can just give her a moment to just try and log back in. Hendrik, if I can just ask, maybe if you can just play us while we try and get Tina back, the song from Deny. Okay, she's back. Black women bounce back very quickly. Welcome back, Tina.
My internet, it's not me.
No, it's yeah, no, look, I think if it means that switch off your video so that we can hear you. I mean, we'd prefer to see you, but if that means that it helps us to get better connection, we can do that.
Yes, we can do that. I think that's fine.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yes, so doing that startup for me was the first time I was actually building a business that I, you know, not just for survival, but also thinking that I'm trying to solve a solution that my mom and other farmers are doing. Because when the middlemen buy from the farm, they buy it very cheap. And then when it comes to Nairobi, it's like 10x. So, but then the farmer is not making much money. I was thinking, if people were buying directly from farmers, then maybe the farmers might get better value for their crops. Yeah, so, but there was a lot of things that we had to think through within the whole value chain. And also it is really hard to come in and break down like middlemen mafias, because they are mafias. Yeah. So I know that this is a business that needs more resources. It's a business that needs more time to think. It's a business that needs one to build relationships
Tina, you've cut. Okay, I think let's just try and see if we can try and get her back one more time, but perhaps also in the interest of time. I would want us not to.
Apologies. I just
Okay,
switched
there you
to
are.
my phone internet. I hope that would be better.
Yeah, I think that sounds so much better. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, where did I drop off?
Yeah, so maybe Tina, I would like, just for the interest of time, I would like to ask one more question.
Sure.
And then, because I know we've got we still have your team that will present, and there's still Q&As and a whole lot of exciting stuff. But I would like to find out, I mean, as a woman and being Black and being woman, what are some, I know we've got some women, with us, and sometimes it's a challenge, rocking up in a meeting or perhaps even talking to investors. Maybe, you feel intimidated. I mean, what are some of perhaps tips or suggestions or things that you've done that have helped you to overcome those challenges? As we know, some of the people, or at least rather the conversation today is around investment readiness. So it's not only that, it's not only just the due diligence, just the, the paper, but it's also how we show up into those conversations. So what are some of the things that you can perhaps share with us that you've done that have helped you in your journey?
Thanks for that. I think one of the major things that has helped me a lot is doing my own homework. So I always say, be the expert in your space. Because it doesn't matter what gender you're in, if you can be able to show your credibility in terms of like the knowledge that you have about your space. It does, even if people are not giving you attention in the beginning, they'll start listening. And then the other thing is always doing your background check on people before getting on calls with them or getting in the meeting with them. Understanding, I call it professional stalking. That's how I get my jobs. So yeah, doing professional stalking, just understanding who's in your space, what do they care about, what other, like if it's an investor, what startups have they funded? If they have a Twitter space, what do they commonly talk about? Have they written a blog? What have they written about? And then like not saying explicitly like, hey, I read this about you, just adding those types of topics in your conversations, then you start capturing their interests. So we're in the business of people, and yes, people invest in people. That's one thing I understood. So if you come with your papers and come with a beautiful pitch deck, but you're not connecting to that person, is the person who's going to make the final decision. So making sure that you're not connecting with them just from the books, but also on a personal level, then you are not able to capture your audience. I think that was one thing that I was able to, that was my biggest takeaway.
And so how do we stalk you on LinkedIn or Twitter?
I think because
maybe if we're looking for mentorship.
Because I've been stalking people, I stopped putting a lot of information online. Like it's so easy to find information. But yeah, you can. A lot of my information is still online.
Okay, we'll tweet. We'll stalk you on LinkedIn or something. Thank you so much. We really appreciate just the time that we've had, just to have just some conversation, to have a better understanding on the people behind Raise, and we really hope for more conversation again. In August, we've got. I see Vu has a question here. What has been your biggest lessons to date in founding Raise? Perhaps if you can just close that with that question, then I'll hand over to Kopan.
I think my biggest learning is the market dictates your product. It's not your product that dictates the market, is because one of our huge learning point at Raise is when I joined after the two founders, Marvin and Eugene, and both of them are very product focused. So they built the product, I took it to market. And our biggest mistake was we built the product before taking it to market. We should have gone to the market first, taken the feedback, and then build the product. So now there was a lot of technical debt that we had to undo. And now we're investing so much in usability testing, like trying to understand, talking to customers, trying to do more market research. And also the market it can morph whichever way. So be ready to pivot. Just because your vision was A and now the market is saying no, the value is in B or C, then you need to be able to humble yourself enough and pivot, because the goal is follow the money and create as much impact as you can. If the person doesn't see the value in your product, then there's no money that is coming to your pockets.
Yes, no. Thank you so much, Vu. Just in terms of time, I think we'll perhaps hopefully be able to look at those questions in the Q&A. Kopano, thank you so much, Tina, for your time. And Kopano, I will hand over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Yoli. Thank you, Tina. Cool. So we're going to go into the session where we learn more about the platform Raise. So I'm going to ask for Kingsley and Uzi to take the floor, take the stage, take us through the presentation, and then if you have any questions, I think it's fair you can ask them in the chat, but we also do have a link for our Slido, which just helps upvote questions that people have. But if you feel comfortable posting it in the chat here on Zoom, it's also fine. We'll filter through them and post them to the Raise team. Cool. So Uzi, I hand over to you. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity, Kopano. So I'm just going to share my screen now, so you can let me know when you can see my screen. Is it very visible? Are you able to see my screen, Kelly?
Yes, you can see it.
Thanks. Okay, so the Raise platform is an all-in-one equity and fundraising management platform. And basically with the Raise platform, what we do for our clients is we help you to manage your cap table seamlessly, basically allowing you to manage your equity, your shareholding structure easily, and be able to see all the details of your cap table in one place. This includes automatically updating your cap table when it changes occurs to your cap table. It also includes being able to distribute equity and shares from your cap table seamlessly and issuing out digital certificates to members of your cap table. Right. So at the Raise platform, what we do for our clients, we offer 4 main services. The first service is investment readiness, and the second is helping you to build out a detailed valuation for your company. So you can request a detailed data-driven valuation report for your company from the platform. You're also able to accurately manage your company's equity and, like I described previously, distribute equity directly from the platform. And lastly, you're also able to manage your fundraising process from start to finish. So when you sign up on the Raise platform, firstly, you're able to manage your, automate your legal compliance from anywhere across Africa. So you can also have your incorporations even outside of Africa. So like incorporations like in Delaware, Nigeria, Kenya, as many, regardless of the country that you're currently incorporated in, you're able to do that on the platform. Next up, you're also able to fast track your fundraising process. So this means that the platform helps you to accurately manage the process of fundraising. So from planning your fundraising to managing the process, tracking the process, and having this entire process be really organized, you're able to do this on the platform because firstly, you're able to track your cap table activity. You're also able to monitor the investors and the activity of investors that come into your data room. I'll throw more light on this as we go further. And lastly, you're doing all of this within one platform. So it makes the process of fundraising and equity management really seamless and easy for you. When you come aboard to the platform, your onboarding process is actually really quick and easy because it's done in just 3 steps. So the very first thing you need to do, of course, is to create an account. Once you create an account, you need to submit your documentation. The reason you're submitting your documentation is because, of course, we need to verify your company. And for us to do this, we will need information like your memorandum of articles and your incorporation certificate, right? Once you submit this information, our team of legal engineers will go through your company's documents and get you onboarded on the platform seamlessly. So the next step is we also have a bunch of other teams. We have a bunch of companies that I'm already working with at the moment. I'm sure you'll be able to recognize some of these companies within our portfolio. We have Bamboo, we have Microtraction, MV Exchange. Some of these companies have been able to successfully complete their round using the Raise platform. And of course, we're also willing to get on calls with you to have more conversations about how Raise works and how we've been able to provide success for the companies within our portfolio. This is an example of one of these companies, and this is Fingo Africa. I'm sure some of you must have heard about Fingo Africa, but Fingo Africa was able to use the Raise platform to close their oversubscribed round in a period of just 2 weeks on the Raise platform. So now you're also able to get priority onboarding on the platform. This basically means that instead of having to manually move data from all the platforms you're currently using. So for example, if you've been using Google to manage your company's data and information, you don't need to do all that. You can automate the migration of this data to the platform seamlessly. Again, now, here's a list of some of the services we have really, and I'm going to do my best to really summarize because I know we don't have that much time here. So firstly, you'll be able to automate your cap table. This basically means making changes to your cap table as soon as they occur to ensure that you have a clean cap table. The next is stakeholder management. So you're able to accurately manage all the stakeholders within your cap table. You're able to distribute digital certificates to them. You're also able to see the amount of shares that every shareholder within your cap table has. Again, you're also able to include subsidiary data. So for example, if you have a subsidiary out in another country in Africa, you can host and store this information, the data around that subsidiary company within the platform. You're also able to give your corporate secretary access to manage all your data for you. And once the transaction occurs on your cap table, this is automatically updated. Spoken about this, you're also able to issue electronic shares and convertibles, right? So all the shares associated with every shareholder within your cap table is accurately updated on the platform, and you can track this on the platform as well. Now, in addition to that, you're also able to track the activity of investors.
I think Uzi is frozen there.
Your governments must do better job, eh?
This is Kenya and Nigeria. You can see how the quality of our government and telecommunication industry. Yeah, so let me just continue what she's saying on this slide as we try and find her. So on top of so you can be able to track your investments. So like if people have committed or want to commit an investment through the deal room on the platform, you can be able to see the activities behind your deal room. So which investor, if you've invited an investor, which one looked at which documents, how long did they look at the document, which documents did they download. And this can also help you have like a much richer follow-on conversation, because then you can say, I saw you spend a lot of time looking at our finances. Do you have any follow-up questions on that? And what we've seen is that when companies fundraise using our platform, it takes a shorter time. It cuts the time that they use with the way that they traditionally fundraise by using emails or other platforms. So that's one of the benefits of using our platform. I will just talk about where the platform is going. So we are building an ecosystem around the entrepreneur or around the startup. And by ecosystem, I mean that who are the people that help you build your companies? You need capital expenses, which is coming from the investor, and the people who will help you close these deals or throughout your corporate governance is the lawyers, right? So we're building different dashboards where investors can be able to manage their portfolio companies, and also investors can be able, if they're looking for pipeline, we'll create a marketplace within Raise where they can be able to look at all the companies that have put in public that they're fundraising, and you can be able to go and match. They can request access to review your deal room. So that's one of the next steps that we'll be doing. We're building that dashboard I think by the end of this year or beginning of next year. And then the other part of the puzzle is the law firm. We're currently partnering with NK, Anwal & Kana, which is one of the largest law firms in Africa. So we are starting a project in Kenya. They want to reduce their costs in board member resolutions, issue certificates, and tax returns for companies. So they do this a lot for SMEs, and they want to automate this process. So we're working with them to create a dashboard for companies so that the corporate secretaries can just go in and help with doing all the corporate, the corporate governance work for the companies so that the companies can be compliant. For us, the goal is once we start standardizing all these data points, the cap table data, pre-money valuation data, and building an ecosystem around the platform, then eventually we'll be able to get closer to our vision, which is to create a secondary market for private companies, where companies can be able to use the current value of the company to sell their shares at market value. So you can be able to see and track the performance of the company on a daily or monthly basis. How that looks like, we still don't know. That's why we need as many companies to start getting onboarded into the platform. And we're working actively with the companies to see, and the ecosystem to see what are the relevant data points that we need for the companies to show how much they're worth in real time. Ozichi, you're back. So I don't know if you want to continue with the presentation. I just talked about the investor insights and where we're going.
Yeah, maybe just to recontextualize for Ozichi. Yeah, so Tina took us through some of the platform, vision and where it's going in terms of a high-level roadmap. Perhaps you can do the demo just so we can see what the experience would be when we interact and potentially want to set up our own accounts on the Raise platform. And then once again, to the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat if you're comfortable doing that, or via the Slido link, and then we'll address the Q&A.
Nice. Thanks so much for filling in for me, Tina. And thanks, Kopano, for the opportunity again. Apologies for that. My internet just mysteriously dropped off and I was talking to myself for a while. So yeah, so taking you through the platform now. So once you come on board on the platform, this is basically how your profile looks like, right? So the very first step you need to get verified is, as I mentioned before, you need to first of all submit your memorandum of articles and your certificate of incorporation. The reason we ask for this information is not just so we can have your information, it's also so we can get your company verified, right? So once that is completed, our legal team goes through your documents and gets you verified. And then you now you're basically required to complete your company's profile. Basically just enter basic information about your company and now be able to give access to all the members of your team whom you want to have access, and you can determine the type of access that they have. Then you're also able to store documents here. So again, the amount of storage space is unlimited. You can store as many documents as possible. And you can also include all the subsidiaries you have. So for instance, if you have multiple subsidiaries in different parts of Africa, you're also able to add this information and store this data on the platform. Now we'll move to the cap table. So when you come to the cap table, I hope this isn't too small. Just going to try to zoom in a bit so it's a bit clearer. When you come to the cap table, you're able to see the names of every shareholder, the share class each person belongs to, and the amount of diluted shares that they have and their percentage of ownership. Now, again, we build the cap table this way, firstly, to be able to provide clarity to everyone, such that when you come to the name of a specific shareholder, you're able to see all the shares and all the details associated with the shares they hold in your company. You're also able to see the digital certificate that's been issued to him or her. And along with that, you'll be able to access the term sheets and the shares guiding a particular person's shares. So in addition to that, there's also details on the rights and preferences, vesting schedules, and of course, the points where you're able to issue out the certificates, right? So all this information is completely collected on this section of the platform. And in addition to that, you also have access to details on the convertible and debt instruments that are used. That way, your cap table is firstly automatically updated when a change occurs. You are not missing out any form of information. Every single thing associated with your shareholding structure is properly captured on the platform. And the moment any change occurs to your cap table, it will be updated automatically. You can, of course, add new shareholders, create a new share class if you wish to, and also include a new type of convertible term. And lastly, you're also able to export this data. So if you're trying to download this information, you're able to do that directly from the platform. So now we're going to move on to the fundraising section. I like to say this is where the magic happens. So within the fundraising section, the very first thing you'll be required to do is to build out your deal room. Your deal room is basically where you store out the information about your company's fundraising, right? So information such as your target amount you're looking to raise, your company information, so the different types of details associated with your company, like your market size, your business model, basically things that you typically want an investor to see when they come into your deal room, your financial projections and financial history. All this information is collected in one place and is properly stored. Lastly, you're also able to access legal documentation. So again, more details and more information that you'll be providing an investor with if they want to access legal information about your company. And you also need to highlight your milestones, right? So if you've had a successful round in the past, this is the section where you will be able to upload that information and basically just populate all the milestones that you've achieved over time. And there's a section for storing your documents. So now we're going to talk about the tools that you have in your deal room. The deal room has three main tools that make the process of fundraising simpler and faster for our clients. The first is the investor access tool. With this tool, you're able to invite an investor into your deal room Firstly, by sharing a link with them to get access. Now, once you share this link with an investor, the very first thing we do is we issue an NDA. This NDA is created to protect you because, of course, this investor will be viewing sensitive information about your company. Now, once the investor has access to your deal room, they are now able to use the second tool in the deal room, which is the investor simulator tool. This tool basically makes it possible for the investor to see what they get in return when they give your company money. So if, for example, this company is looking to raise $2 million and I'm going to act like an investor, I want to give them, I'm interested in investing about $100,000 in their company. So the platform is going to let me know what I get in exchange for that. So you can see that it's told me the percentage of ownership I have, how much ownership the founder will have after I give, after I make that investment, and details like the price per share, investment value after the round is done, and the company's post-money valuation. So these are the things that you'll be able to do first with the investor access tool and simulator tool. The next tool we're going to talk about is the investor insights tool, which Tina already talked about. So this is what the insights section looks like. You're able to track the activity of all the investors that have gotten access to your deal room. That way, you'll be able to see how often they visited the platform. You'll be able to see which documents they viewed, and you'll be able to see how much they simulated. So for example, if an investor has simulated up to $50,000, you'll be able to see that. You'll also be able to see more detailed activity for each investor within your company. So next up now we have the last section, which is the scenario modeling. Now within the scenario modeling section, you're able to see the projections for your company's future fundraising rounds, and I'll explain how that works. So for example, if you're in your pre-seed round and you would like to know what your ownership would look like after that round is complete, and even the round after that, this is what the scenario modeling tool does for you. So let's take, for example, this company that's looking to raise $2 million. They would like to know what their shareholding structure would look like when their pre-seed round is done. So what the platform basically does is it calculates your ownership based on the change that will occur within your cap table when that round is completed, and basically give you details on how your shareholding structure would look like after that round. Now, it doesn't just stop there. You're also able to do this for even the round after your pre-seed round. So if you're in your pre-seed round, you'll be able to see your ownership after your pre-seed round is complete, and you can go ahead and input values, or basically your projected, the projected amount you'd like to raise for the round after your pre-seed round, which is your seed round. That way, the platform will be able to let you know what your ownership and other shareholders within your cap table, what their ownership would look like after that round is complete. Now, with these projections, as a founder, you'll be able to know what your ownership structure would look like years down the line. And of course, this will also help you to prepare so that you not end up losing ownership of your company as time goes by. So these are the three main tools that you use within the deal room. Again, these three tools really make the process simple and easy for you as a founder, because not only are you tracking your company's equity and cap table, ensuring your cap table is clean at all times, you're also able to manage your fundraising process and fast track your fundraising process. Yes, so we're really happy to make this entire onboarding process for you as quick and seamless as possible. And again, the Raise platform is built in Africa for growing African teams. You can also have your holding companies in other countries while you use the platform. You can also manage your subsidiaries within Africa. And again, what the best thing about the platform is we also give you access to a 30-day free trial. So within the first 30 days, you access the platform for, you will not be required to pay any charges. But of course, once you're done with your free trial, you'll be required to pay for your subscription in order to keep using the platform. So once again, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Ozzy.
Thank you.
So I think the platform is quite amazing. From some of the conversations I've had with some of the members in our community, in the beginning of your journey when you're building, you're mostly focused on building out the product, servicing the customer. And some of these technicalities around organizational structure often go above your head, and they can easily become an issue or a stumbling block once you're ready to raise. So I think it's a very a good platform that we have no reason now to be disqualified by some of the technicalities of building a company and structuring the organization. So one of the first questions I want to ask is, what are some of the key considerations for a founder when they're building out their founding team? Because again, in the beginning of the journey, you're not really thinking too much about how the pie is getting sliced. You're focused on baking it, making sure the flavor is right for whoever's going to consume it. But a time does come when you now have to think about structure and shareholding and equity and all of these other factors. So what are some of the key considerations a founder should have? What does this look like, especially if they're building a team across geography, across the continent? And maybe something else to consider in your response: how early should I be thinking about raising and getting onto the Raise platform? At what stage of my journey should I really be starting to think about my fundraising strategy? So I hope I didn't pack too many questions in there. I just want to understand how can a founder position themselves to take advantage of the journey making use of your platform.
I'll take this one, and then Ozzy can add if I'm missing anything, or Kingsley. So for looking for a founder, I think it's asking yourself, what is the background and expertise you have yourself? Like, which industry are you in? What expertise do you need to be able to build your company or the product that you're trying to build or service? Do you have all the skills? If you don't, who are the other people that have those skills? If you're planning to service multinational companies, then maybe you need someone who has experience working in different industries in different countries. And then I think as founders, we end up being stuck in how much percentage each person deserves. The only thing I would always say is 100% of zero is zero. 70% of zero is zero. So it doesn't matter if you give me 20% or 70%. The only thing that matters is, will we be able to build this company to a place where the value of my 5% is so much that I really don't care about, like, it is about the value at the end of the day. So when I see a lot of companies, founders get stuck in, how much do I deserve? Because I came first, then I need to get more percentage. No, it's a matter of how much does each person add value to the company? How much does each person bring to the table? Is it years of experience? Is it the network, the number of network? Also the scope of work that they're getting? You have to be very fair, because from the beginning, when you're fair, then you're starting to build a very a relationship that is built on respect. And also, founding team is marriage. Like, you're literally marrying these people. So you have to understand, are you able to, does your personality gel? And if it doesn't, do you have just mutual respect to say, stay on your lane, I stay on my lane, but if it's work, we work. That is on the founder side. Your second question, how soon can you start fundraising? Always think about fundraising. Fundraising is an ongoing journey. So if you can be able to bootstrap, if you can be able to push fundraising as far as possible, if it's your first fundraising, then bootstrap. If you have the money, bootstrap, because when you start adding investors at very early stage of your company, then that means that you have a lot of people in your ears telling you what to do. Because investors also come with, I give you money, so you have to listen to me. Some of them, not all. Especially early stage investors, because those are angels, family and friends. And some of them don't know what they're doing or don't understand the industry. So choosing your investors wisely does take time. It's not about the money, but it's also about what, in addition to the money, what else are they adding to the table? I hope that, yeah. Ozzy, do you want to add something?
Tina, I think you actually covered most of it. To be fair, yes, I think one thing that founders also need to be prepared for really is being able to track the activity in their cap tables, because I hear a lot of founders say, oh, I have a cap table, my cap table is updated. But the thing is, you can never be too sure with your cap table. Like, your cap table needs to be as accurate as possible, especially in the early stages, because as time goes on, it gets a lot more complicated to make these corrections, to introduce new shareholders, to create new share classes. So you want your foundational cap table to be as clean as possible, because that will mean that the decisions you're making in the nearest future will be based on false information. And that's a very, very risky thing to do, because you're not going to find out at that point. You find out when you need to make a more critical decision. And that will mean double work, more legal fees, more documents that you need to get, and money lost, right? So you need to be as should I say, diligent as possible when you're cleaning up your cap table and, having all that information correct. Everything Tina said about the valuations is spot on. Yeah, you basically, your investments come based on your valuation and how much you're able to prove. You're basically the one selling your company to these investors, right? Because when it comes to the deal room, all the information you're seeing is basically you selling your company. You're saying, this is what we have, this is who we are. Make your judgment on me based on the information I've provided to you. So again, you need to be as clear as possible on your values, on your market position, your financial performances, and yeah, I think you'll be okay if you're able to do all that.
Great. You yourself, Ozzy and Tina, mentioned something quite interesting that I'd like for us to double tap on, which is valuations. And Tina mentioned that having whether it's 5% or 100% of nothing is still nothing. So what factors go into a valuation for a company, and how can me as a founder think about what the value of my company is? Because again, at the earliest stage, or outside of having that intrinsic knowledge about some of these factors, I may feel like 1% or 0.5%, whatever it is, doesn't really mean much. And it's easy to kind of say to someone, okay, you help me fundraise and I will give you 0.5% or 2% of the company. But help us understand what factors go into valuing a company so we can be a bit wiser about how we go about it.
Tina is the valuation pro. I'll just let her take this one.
I just wanted to make a comment on your last one. Like, never give a percentage of your company to someone who is helping you fundraise. Give them money. Don't give them a percentage of your company. Just give them money and then they go. So for valuation, it depends with the stage of the company that you're in. So if you're a pre-seed company, that means that you don't have a product already, right? Maybe you're doing your minimum viable product. You are testing your first version of or beta version of the product with the market, or you're building it with the market, right? At that stage, most companies it's really hard to create a value for your company. However, there's valuation methods that you can use that measure the qualitative aspect of your company. So by qualitative, I mean how much years of experience does your founding team or your team bring on the table that is relevant to whichever product and industry that you're in. Looking at the total addressable markets, looking at the product itself, the problem, how big is the problem, how relevant is the problem in the next couple of years. So there's a couple of things. So you can maybe go do a little bit of research on two valuation methods. One is the scorecard method, and the other one is the, oh, I'm blanking out. I'll remember. But if you write qualitative valuation methods, you'll find them online. Different angel investors have different valuations that they use. There are so many. And then the way you can be able to validate your valuation is through documentation. So if you can show that you've done, if you're doing MVP and usability testing, document that information, and also show what is the milestones that you have gained after doing the MVP. So if you have documented that, how has that translated into updating your product or your service? So those are the things that people can be able to value. You can also look at what does the team bring on the table? What were they being paid before? And now that they've put away that money and now they're working for the company for free. That is value. So there's a lot of things that you can capture as value, but if you can start documenting things as early as possible, when an investor starts asking you those type of questions, you have receipts. So you can say, my value is this because of, I have this, and this. And you can show them, these are the documentations. So when you have your product in place and you've already gone to market and now you're starting to make revenue, that's where the qualitative aspect of the valuation can be. So the qualitative aspect and quantitative, so you do qualitative plus quantitative. So quantitative valuations are like discounted cash flow, venture capital, VC methods, so venture capital methods, which looks at the return on investment. And so it's like, what is the financial situation of your company today? And what are your financial projections? And then based on your financial projections, when are you able to pay back your money, the investor money? And also looking at how is your company growing over time based on how it's performing today and where the industry is going in the future. So that one can be calculated based on the data that you provide. For us, Raise, we have a partnership with a company called Equidam. So they have a software that we use. So they look at qualitative and quantitative aspect of the company. We collect the data, we input it in their algorithm, and then it calculates. So you get the baseline, like this is your value. If you were to go higher, this is the highest you could go, and this is the lowest you could go. And that helps you. If you go with that document to an investor, then you can start having the negotiation of this is how much the value is. When you're at your early stage of your company and like pre-Series A, that is pre-seed and seed stage, you can use convertible debt instruments. So I would always say, don't give equity at early stage of your company because you have not solidified the value of your company today. So if you can be able to push the value of your company to the future until you reach your Series A, it's better. But then also if you can give convertible note instruments to your early stage investors, then it can either, if it's convertible debt, it can either convert into debt, or you have the option to buy them out. So if you don't like them as investors, you can buy them out. Or if your Series A investors are giving you too much money and you're like, I don't want these guys anymore, you can buy everyone out and then get, as you as a founder, you get back your common shares. And then you can be able to still be majority shareholder and and then have this new Series A investors come in. The most important thing when you're talking to investors throughout is understanding what their exit strategy is. So what do they want in the end? Do they want to be bought out? Because that can be part of your strategy as you are planning your future fundraising. Because you can say, if I take money from this future investor, then I know investor A, B, C, D, they'll want their money back. So I have to raise X amount knowing that this amount is going into operations of the company, and then this amount is going to buying back the shares of the company from the angels. So you have to really understand what is their motivation before taking their money.
Love that. Cool. I think that definitely does give a bit more insight. Tina, I've often heard as well, this term of flipping, right? So once you get to a certain point of the company journey and you want to raise international or foreign funding, you're required to incorporate elsewhere. And if you had already, if you already had a company incorporated locally, you could, incorporate one internationally and flip to the international one, becoming a holding company. So, what are some of the benefits for doing that? And what's the process for doing that? What is it like? And again, when should a founder start thinking about these things? Is it one of those as early as possible, or do you kind of play it by ear once you're at the point where you're raising from, or there's interest from an international investor?
I think getting foreign direct investment is inevitable because a lot of local high net individuals or funds either invest in later stage companies or companies that are in the series B, C, D, E. So as early stage companies, we at some point will get some foreign money. And most of these foreign companies are not comfortable investing in companies that have their registration in their local countries, because they don't want to make the effort of understanding the legal infrastructure of that country. And to some point, I understand and I get their point of view, because they're maybe investing in 5 companies in Kenya, 5 in Egypt, 5 in Ethiopia. So they would definitely need like a lot of manpower to understand all the legal infrastructure and the implications of investing in companies there. So as a result, a lot of investors ask companies to invest to register in Delaware. So actually our seed round, we had to do that, because when we joined 500 Startup, that was one of the requirements, that we had to change our, move our corporate subsidiary to Delaware. And now we're trying to deregister our companies and LTD in Kenya, so that we can, because if there's a lot of tax implications. All these countries that you are registering in, you have to also pay tax. So now that we're paying tax in US, then we have to think about, do we really need to pay tax in Kenya? So we're trying to there's options. You can have the umbrella company in one country, and then the local country can be a branch of that company. So all these things, you need a lawyer. And lawyers, flip lawyers are very expensive. And yeah, so it's hard to find a local person who understands the Delaware legal infrastructure. So our legal team is trying to do something, because we've done it for our company, and some companies that are using our deal room have asked us to do it for them. So we have worked with we've worked with Stripe multiple times, and so we know how to do it through Stripe to help companies flip to Delaware. We give advice, but we don't do most of the legwork. We can support you in terms of helping you register there. That one we can do for you. But then in terms of you understanding how does that impact your company in the local jurisdiction, then that you have to figure out with your local lawyer. So as you can see, there's a lot of things are impacted by the lawyer is in the middle of all these things, and they know, and that's why they ask for top dollar for this. So being informed from the beginning is really key, and also asking yourself, do you really want to flip to Delaware? And if that's the case, start learning about educating yourself about the taxes there. And because as a founder, as a shareholder, you have to pay tax, or you have to do tax returns.
Sure. That sounds scary, I won't lie, but
I think for founders' journey is that when you accept you don't know what you don't know, then it's beautiful. It's a beautiful disaster.
That's true. And I actually don't want us to take this type of knowledge for granted. For some founders, it may seem like common sense, but in a lot of instances, we come across founders just building, and your head is, face down, and you're just building, and you get to a point where then you're at the end of your own knowledge around some of these matters, and that often becomes a stumbling block. I mean, we've heard in our community, as Nzako said earlier on, we have both founders and investors in the community, and we've often heard from the investors saying, founders aren't investment ready. They don't have their affairs in order. And oftentimes it's because it was just an oversight. I was just focused on building a product and servicing a customer. So thank you for that. And also know that Raise has huge ambitions. This is but one, cap table management is but one step to that ambition around building a Pan-African stock exchange. So this is part of your efforts to modernize African economies and drive the future of finance. What would you say are some of the challenges that exist in ensuring that that ambition or that mission comes to life?
Clean data. It's that simple. Clean data. I think, as Ozzy has mentioned, it's really important for us to make sure that our cap table is clean at all times, because what we've seen is companies coming in, doing their Series A, and they completely forgot about their angels. And they've given shares to their angels, or they gave them shares by word of mouth. And then now it's a legal case. So, and when you're looking for new investors never want anything messy. So if your legal affairs are not in order, if your cap table is not clean, you're already cut off. And it's you and 1,000 other, 100 other companies that are looking for the same money. So making sure like your documentation, your data points are in order before you start. Even as you reach out to them, you can reach out to them asking, what are the things that you're looking for? And then start preparing before you go and ask them for money. So for the Raise platform, the deal room, the way we built it, was basically out of the commonly asked due diligence asked questions from funders when they're doing due diligence to make sure if you're investment ready. Those are the commonly asked questions. And that's why we automated it and created it as a product. I think it's gonna be a challenge. It's continuously, it's a matter of education. So we know that our vision is very ambitious, and I think we were humbled by the market. And that's why I'm saying, listen to the market. It really humbled us, and we were like, okay, we need to start from zero. What are the basic things that founders and companies need to have in order for us to grow into a secondary market for private companies? Because imagine a world where everyone's cap table is in real time updated. All your employee stock options can be able to buy or sell their shares on a stock exchange at the market value of your company at that day. Imagine like if there was an automated valuation where like people can be able to see, oh, this is the value of my company today based on this and this and this data points that are being collected by my company as we're building the company. So, and also imagine a world where people can be able to borrow money against their shares. We'll be creating wealth for Africa. So I really hope that that world gets somewhere, gets there. We get there somewhere, somehow. But the only way we can be able to do it is working together with companies and investors and other ecosystem players.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tina. Once again, I think this is very important information as we look to build global companies from Africa. So I thank you and the team, Kingsley and Ozichi, for coming onto the platform to share more about what Raise is doing, Raise's journey itself, and how we can think differently as founders about our fundraising strategy. So I've posted the website in the chat section, but if you want to learn more about Raise, you can go to GetRaise.io, so GET raise.io. They have a free a plan and a pro plan, so you can explore there. We'll also look to be doing a few more interventions to try see how we can assist some of our community members to get as much value as possible from the Raise platform. So thank you so much, Kingsley being the B2B lead for Raise, Ozichi being the B2C lead for Raise, and Tina being the Chief Growth Officer at Raise. Thank you so much for your time, Raise team. I'll hand you back over to Yoli.
Thank you so much for that. And so I will actually, we've got about 2 minutes left. I just want to hand over to Vu to just give us some info on what we can expect for next week. We've got data-free Vu. If I can just hand over to you. Maybe Vu, if you can also just close off for us, just thinking of time.
No problem. Thanks, everybody. I mean, Tina, thanks to you, the team, Ozzy, King, my brother. Guys, we've got work to do, hey? We've got work to do. I know that the people who missed the opportunity to be here, they'll get the opportunity to watch the YouTube recording and follow up. And I know they're going to be missing wanting to have been on here. So I think we need to get you guys to commit maybe to come back here with us in 6 months, because I know these questions are going to come back again, because you know, all the founders are always raising, and we want to kind of have a cohesive journey with everybody that's part of the community. And I also echo Kopano's point that we must work with you guys to see how we can work with you around you know, that fee and creating incentives and creating kind of a throughput to make sure that we get those customers into your pipeline. But what an enlightening journey. I've already pinged my guys, and certainly you'll be hearing from our ventures team at Hyber to have a one-on-one session to kind of go through the product and make sure that at least we support. If anything else, you get the $50 monthly fee from us, okay? We'll kick it off for everybody down south. So I appreciate your time. Next week, for those who are joining and those who are joining the call, we've got Gar Lento, who's the founder of Data Free, and again, specifically the Moya app. The journey we want to build with these sessions is that we also want to create market opportunity. Today was all about investment readiness and tremendous insights around valuations and insights around readiness for investment, cap tables and data rooms. Next week, we're now talking market access. And the data-free platform and community is something that came up in the DIT community, where people want to serve, you know, base of the pyramid communities, and they want to make their products more accessible. And this is how we're thinking about how we can let your product and your platform be more data-free. And again, how to join the Moya app marketplace and list your product on the marketplace. In fact, the last 2 sessions are all going to be about market access to the community at DIT. So look forward to having everybody join us for those sessions and to engage with Gao around getting your product to users. They already have over 1 million daily uniques on that Moya app platform. So you absolutely will, no doubt, grow a base of market users for your product and your platform when you launch on those platforms, including Ayoba, which we the final session at the end. Thanks, Yoli, and hopefully everybody will enjoy what comes of the week. And happy Youth Month, Youth Day tomorrow. Some of us don't count as youth, Kopano, now. Guys, you better enjoy your youth. We are too old now. We must. In fact, I was facilitating a panel session at the NYDA session, and there had some young people in the audience. They said, "But Chief, we can't tell. We can't tell. Are you what?" I said, "No, I must confess, I don't qualify, but I won't say by how many by how many years I don't qualify. I'll just leave you guessing. You see, I got my baby face." So thank you so much to everybody who took the time to join us here this evening, guys. We're building the content, and I want you guys to know that it's an authentic journey. The team at DIT, my leaders, Kopano and Zako, please guys have the strength. Madiba will get you there, Chief. You must mobilize. You must meet these guys, and you guys have got work to do. I've spent 10 years of my life working in the ecosystem. Now I'm an elder now. I'm experienced. The journey must take over. Tina and I must now enjoy the fruits of our labor, The rest of you guys must, continue the journey and make sure that we do it better. The opportunities on the continent are there. We still kind of are going around dilly-dallying. I think Tina gave some deep insights about the best ways to approach the market and allowing the market to trust the market. That it's got the sophistication, it's got the wherewithal and nuance to know what it wants. And it will block you and it will shut you down if you think you know more than it knows. So do heed that advice. Do take up the opportunity to make your life easier. Part of the whole idea around innovation and innovating is about adopting innovative platforms and solutions that make the process cheaper and easier. I mean, I'm looking at the stuff that Ozzy was sharing. I mean, the legal fees, trust me, guys, I've started a couple of companies over the years. The amount of legal fees I would have saved if I had this app and this solution. So even that $50 fee that they charge is like, it's a giveaway. Like the amount of money you'd be saving. I mean, even starting small, starting for free, and just working your way through it and into full growing from there as you raise. I'm pretty sure even at $50, one of your investors would want to cover that cost for you. It's like very simple costs as an angel investor to cover for an entrepreneur who's genuinely building something special and unique. So please take up the opportunity to leverage everything that's on that tool. It's a data room. It's a valuation, automated valuation and assessment context. In fact, I think the team is underselling the full value of this. So we're going to definitely reach out to them and make use of it, because I think it takes away so many headaches in terms of what you need to do to kind of be ready and prepared for your investment journey. So thank you so much to them for the effort and the time. Thanks to you all for attending as well.
Thank you so much, Fu. Can I just ask one last thing? If people can just put their cameras for an e-photo. I know some people have dropped off, but if people can just come on just for an e-photo, quick one.
I mean, Yoli, man, you are killing us, man.
Yeah? 1, 2,
you're exposing people here.
You see, now I have people. Yes, we want to see them.
Come. Exposing people, please put clothes on before you switch on your camera.
Okay, thanks everyone. Are you ready? 1, 2. Okay, I've got it. Cheese. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to the Raise team. Thank you, Kopano. Thanks, Wu. Thanks, Tina. See you next week.
I'll be joining you from Europe next week, eh?
Yes.
Away from Africa.
Be humble. Be humble. Let us see your social media first.